Warning. Some concepts, imagery, and language used in this Cult Divinity Lost campaign may be considered deeply offensive to some viewers. Maybe even a lot of viewers. If you are one such viewer, we're sorry. We love you, but you may want to f*** off for this one. Your discretion is advised. Thing is, I think we're live right now.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I hit the button. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't do my usual thing.
What up, internet?
You know, I'm
Hello,
pretty
everybody.
sure. I think we're kind of getting warmed up.
Yeah,
Me, your boy.
CJ, you got popcorn? What's up? All right. CJ is in the bottom there, chewing some popcorn. Mike is in the Miami Vice murder room.
murder narwhals.
Dude, that is amazing. Steve has got the incessantly blinking red emergency shit going on. I have a bottle of wine ready to go. So, how's everybody doing? Let's start with whoever wants to talk about how they're doing. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing fine. I'll start off with a positive note because you guys are just going to be down. Life's great.
It is
I'm
pretty
really
good.
happy to be isolated from everybody because I didn't like you assholes anyway.
You don't thrive on people at all, do you, Steve?
Nope.
Yes.
I definitely don't make tiny connections and gild that and then carry that for the rest of my life. I'd rather be sitting here worried incessantly about people going out to the park.
I mean, the good news is, right, that we would be doing this regardless of quarantine, I think.
It's true. Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh
Like,
yeah, but having the option to not do it is pretty fucking sweet. But like, this is the option. It's either this or watch Tiger King again.
oh, we're not going to talk about that. That's my next campaign, I think. Tiger King. God, I haven't even seen one episode. I have to be honest. I've not seen a single episode of Tiger King. I'm boycotting it. I won't do it.
So
It's like
to
this.
put it into perspective, how batshit crazy it is, they just hired Nicolas Cage for the scripted TV show remake of Tiger
That
King.
just makes
He's
everything so
playing
much
Joe
worse.
Exotic.
You know I
That's
hate
a real
that guy.
fucking thing.
You know I hate that guy a lot, right?
Do you really?
I do. I fucking
He's-
yes. He ruins everything. He ruins breakfast cereals. If
Yeah,
he
and-
if there's yeah,
Oblivious to the world.
And he stole the fucking Declaration of Independence, and I say we don't think so.
and he overpronounces the word declaration, it really makes me mad. It's like he's got something bad.
Got
in his
18
mouth.
syllables. Calm it down.
Declaration. Yeah. So okay, that's good. Thanks, Steve.
Hey, you're welcome.
Mr. Estes, how are you doing, man? How's shit?
I'm doing well, man. Being locked in the house with my wife and daughter is just as delightful as it sounds. I get to hang out in my office all day for work, and then I get to hang out again all afternoon and evening for playtime. So
That sounds pretty cool in your case. In some people's case, it
It
sounds
actually
like murder almost. Like probably gonna happen murder, but no, yeah, that's awesome.
yeah,
Very
you know, it's not too bad. It's not too bad actually. I'm really enjoying the family time. We've cut down the travel literally entirely of our day to
I
day.
was gonna say, I fucking hope so. You damn carrier.
Or you're in trouble.
Yeah.
I stay inside when I'm supposed to. So yeah, that's not too bad. You know, living life, doing the regular stuff. Still waiting on the website for the vocal stuff to be finished up. Obviously, with the COVID, everything's been a little bit slower. But I'm eager and ready to get started on all that. And so this is my outlet. This is where I get to bring my characters to life. So I'm excited to be here.
I'm stoked. You guys, you know, you have been getting just a whole group of you really just such fantastic feedback from the Myth Brigade community. I mean, just the commentary about the depth of the characters and the acting. And someone said earlier they were going to be around for the fuckery, which is pretty cool. That means Steve's getting it done with the pocket powder. CJ, man, how are you doing? How are you doing? How's the popcorn?
Pretty good. It's delicious. Home style.
Home style. I'm glad you don't have diverticulitis, man. You'd be hating life. What's new? Any new shit going on with game development, or are you just too busy with other shit that you do?
No, my game, I actually have 2 developers working on it right now, not including myself. And Steve is on it also helping us.
Dude, put a plug
yeah.
put a plug in. We haven't talked about that. Put a quick plug in so that these fine people can go download it and check it out.
Oh no, they once it's ready.
Oh, you guys are
have
okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, we call it Angry Birds 3.
Shh, 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 shh. Can't let them know. It's the surprise that matters.
Well,
you may have heard of us.
I think you guys need to make an MMO based on this story that we're telling here, so that we can completely ruin America's youth.
What we need to do is do it like children bedtime story, and have like the animated pages opening up, and then I'll do the narration for the entire book.
That's awesome.
You open it, a syringe does this thing. It's like, oh man, watch out!
Tap here to roll for sanity. Let's keep it together.
Nice. So, welcome one and all. A couple announcements we have hit today. Midday, we have hit 500 subscribers to the YouTube channel, which is really awesome. We'd like to have 500,000. And if you guys keep up the acting and all the stuff that you do, I think we'll get there, before we're dead at least. New episode of Rules Bites coming out for the Warhammer thing. It's about weapons. I think that'll be out by Friday. And this Thursday, we're going to be streaming the Tides of Nurgle campaign. So it's a big week for the channel. We're going to be very busy, very tired. But for now, I guess I would ask if you guys are ready for some fuckery, as it was said in the chat earlier. Guys ready to
roll for fuckery?
Tell a scary story. Nice. So we're going to feature some more music from Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. He or they is a twisted individual or group, I don't know which, but they got a new one out, and the title of this one is actually Cursed Soundtrack, The Fear, and then in parens it says Do Not Listen, because it's supposed to cause you psychological problems. So
you're not listening at all.
Is it like The Ring?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Don't watch this movie.
There's an inflation rate in like 3.5 days.
Yeah. So we missed our session last time, so we're the guys are a little kind of foggy on the details of what went on,
or blocked it out.
But they're also completely traumatized. So let's start here. Water, it cleanses us. It washes away the worst of our memories, our deepest regrets, the sins we try to hide from. It refreshes and renews us and gives us life. Blessed, blessed water. In the dark of it, though, we can find our putrefying secrets, whose remnants are picked away at by lesser things. The spoiled remains drifting in clouds of yellow into a place where our eyes can't see. There, so much deeper, await the things that man was never meant to know. Minds whose loathing designs are bent on one thing. He tasted the water from the mouth of its puppet, the priest, and it tasted him. The hunter paused to admire its work. The man-things would spend much less time trying to fathom the trying to fathom the carnage, the art of it, the smell of it. But then a ripple, a door, opened by the ignorance of its prey. A tear between places, a fracture between the facade of the lie and the maddening torrent of bloody torment that is the truth. They're getting close. So much the better. It knows them now. It owns them now. And time grows short. Moments ago, Constantine Bianchi French kissed a corpse of a man whose head hung loose from a broken neck, swinging like a pendulum. It bade him to seal their bargain with a kiss, and in return for that bargain of unknown consequences, your friends were released from this van, which was filling up with this murky, stinking water. So now here we are, your heart's still pounding, you've just gotten out of the van, and there was a bit of banter back and forth as to what the fuck went on, and you were now still here about, say, was it 1 o'clock in the afternoon, say, at Pearson Chemicals in the motor pool. The ground is wet, and there's still water dripping out of the van, dripping from the undercarriage. So let me ask, Frank, starting with you, what just happened in your frame of reference?
I couldn't begin to explain the helplessness and the terror about what looking for clues for where A-Bomb was taken and looking for clues to free anybody else and find out how to tie all these things together. We found a van in a motor pool, and in rummaging through the van, the door shut and locked, and there was chaos and there was water, and I've seen some shit in my life, but I've never felt so helpless. I don't know where to go from here.
The priest, you remember standing at the front of the van conversing with it was hard to see. It was just this crazy blur. But you certainly remember that. And then having stepped out of the van, there's a corpse there. And its head is literally almost torn off. Its neck is so broken that its head's just, it's like a nunchuck or something to create kind of a funny visual. Randall, what about you, man? Like, you were kind of there too. And your pocket powder got all wet, didn't it?
That shit dries off, man. It's fine. It's fine. You know how much pocket powder can fit in a pocket?
I do.
I don't know where to go from here. But yeah, that's a lot of. That's like this scoopable amount of pocket powder.
So the one thing though, Randall, is that normally it's just you, right? This time, Frank saw it. Frank's wet, and he knows it. You're watching him. He's standing there. He's soaked. This should have been one of your episodes, but it wasn't.
Yeah, he's not so smug now. He's not so know-it-all now, is he? Neither of them are. Well, Constantine, the fucking priest, didn't react as I thought he would. He made out with it. That's entertaining.
It picked its own head up, if you recall, because its head, which by the way, you got to figure out exactly how the guard's neck was snapped, but that's just, so it picked its own head up and held it up so he could smooch it. But so let's get your, like, what went on there, Randall?
I mean, we can talk about how the priest did. Something about a guy in a little head. Anyway, yeah, I don't know what's going on anymore. I came into this thing probably way overconfident. I had some sort of prescription confidence, and I don't have that at the moment because shit's drying off in my pocket.
So you're focused on the cocaine mud that's in your pocket.
Well, that's the only thing that I understand to be the real issue right now, because this is all shit that I've seen anyway. This is the first time Frank's seen it. At least I think it's the first time, because the fucker won't talk about anything. He has to be all deep. And the priest, he jumped on it and attempted to touch it or something. I don't know what he was doing. And I thought he said something about, like, he did this for us, but I don't think he did, because we wouldn't have had that fucking problem had he not been there.
You're convinced of this. So Constantine,
Yeah, I didn't do it.
You have a different perspective, because there were some shots fired to the outside of the van, if you recall. Right? So what from your perspective went on?
Well, I happen to be the cause of the shots being fired, if I recall correctly. And I realized in the moment that I care for these other two people as friends, which was interesting because typically Constantine has always been a loner and always been, shying away from the groups. So very little trust. But there's something he sees in Frank that he likes, and how can you not like the craziness of Randall? So, he wanted to make sure that they survive. So instead of going after what he hates the most, which is the demon, he sought to preserve his friends.
And there's something brilliant and beautiful about that, despite the moment that you're in, because it's clear that it was real. Were I a police officer, sort of watching what was going on, I would assume that you had murdered this guard, this man who works at this Pearson Chemicals place on Saturday, his limp corpse lying there, water draining out of its mouth. Murky water. What do we do from here? Where do you go? You're in the motor pool. Off to your right again is the building across the parking lot, creeping into the afternoon. What do you do?
Who are you asking?
I don't know.
came here. We came here with a purpose, and as terrifying as that was, we can't let that stray us from why we're here, or it's all been for naught. And so, I'm not real eager to jump into another van again, but I think we need to keep looking around.
Can you tell me why we're here again, just so I can really get this clear in my head?
Man, nothing's ever clear in your head. You forget about A-Bomb?
No,
Forget
I know
about
the
Ozzy?
A-Bomb shit. I know A-Bomb, I know Ozzy. I know both of them just the same as you did, but why are we here? Being supposedly heroes now.
I guess you wouldn't understand what it's like to be a hero, would you?
What? Some people like me. Fucking priest laughed, but I just thought about the convincing nature of his religion and everything, so it's fine. Well, all right, boss, where are we going? Not you, priest. Frank, where are we going, man? Hero, where are we going?
We got to keep looking for clues.
Mm.
We got to find out what's behind this, what's causing this before anybody else gets hurt.
All right, what are you going to do? No one's swinging the Bible at you, so you haven't locked up yet. Come on, where are we going, Frank? Hero, where are we going?
So I'm going to give Constantine an opportunity, because you guys are going back and forth. I'm going to give you an opportunity to observe the situation. If you guys are not familiar with the Fueled by the Apocalypse system, you can check that out online. Also, we have an affiliate link in these videos, so you can get bugs.
7 more modules. Observe the situation.
Oh, I need to roll for 6th Sense at some point.
Oh, yeah. Do it. Oh, that's why.
This also means I'm going to need to log in and roll 20.
Yeah, me too. I literally brought it up. Sorry, guys.
We're good at role playing. Where's that role playing engine?
Ooh, look at that. Everybody get into roll 20 before I get into results here. You rolled an 18. Guess see you guys in. Okay, good. So, and I'll get the view up here in a second so you guys can see the die roll. So basically what that means is you're kind of observing what's going on. You get to ask 2 questions. They can be as specific or as broad as you'd like about the immediate situation that's going on.
Well, I sense, does it have to be around the 2 of them, Frank and Randall?
No, just the situation around you. You could be looking for clues. You could be whatever.
All right, so 2. All right. Do I see anything aside from the front entrance as a way to gain entrance to this this office space?
Okay, so there's the side door, and you'll remember from before that there was a security camera. It was on the sort of old school, closed circuit television cameras. If you're looking around, you kind of kick a rock, right? And you glance down, and on the security guard's belt, a set of keys.
I'll go ahead and grab those.
Yeah.
I'll jingle them to catch Randall's attention and Frank's. Like like you do with a child.
It's right about at the point where you say, okay, you lead the way, hero, kind of thing. You hear the jingling of keys.
Like I'm a fucking cat. That's awesome. Yeah, you guys. We have the hero and the fucking zoo worker.
Nice work, preacher.
Good
Did you
job.
find him in the van?
No, they're on this guy I was making out with here. Parting gift.
Can I see those?
I tossed it. Right.
I start looking through the keys for a key that may look like it opens the office door that we passed earlier.
Okay. So you're looking through that real quick. So Randall, your roll for Sixth Sense. So this is an advantage that Randall has, everyone, that basically allows him to sort of benefit from his Sixth Sense. And a roll of 18 allows you to choose 3 options. And of course, you could choose all 3 of one or, whatever. You get to act first in a threatening situation. This can include even acting prior to a surprise attack. Sense whether or not someone wishes you good or ill. Discover or sense a clue or lead when you're off track. So put those in your. Which ones would you like to put in your pocket?
In my non-pocket powder pocket, I would like 2 of the act first and 1 of the sense a clue.
That's a combo meal. Done. Those are for this session, right? So you gotta use.
Does Frank mean me bad?
You use one of those.
No.
Okay. I was gonna say I don't know, Frank. Do you? So you've got that. So you're looking through this key ring. There are several. In fact, a couple of them look like sort of vehicle keys. But you do see one. It's very generic, and just this kind of brass colored key, but it's hefty. It looks promising. It looks very much like, and as a cop, you would probably have kind of a better idea of what these things are like. But it looks like a sort of a skeleton key, fit all locks kind of key. Here, anyway.
Spooky.
I'm not getting back in those vans. But I think this key might get us into the office. You guys want to go check it out?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Let's go.
Do we ever figure out who made the Weekend Warrior guy all neck floppy, or did he just appear?
Do you nudge his head with your foot so his head's like?
Yeah. I just sort of wobble it around and gesture his lack of structural support and go, "You guys are cool with this, hero? You're cool with not knowing where this guy came from? You're gonna use your detective skills and detect."
If we're being
the priest
honest,
is fucking
Randall,
fine with this because he went through all the pockets.
There's a whole lot here that I don't understand. I can't help him.
We all have necks, Frank. I mean, you don't have much of one, but we all have, like, yes. You look like a
If
bullet.
anybody wants to do some fan art of necklace Frank Quinn,
I figure
Links in the comments.
He's way more buff than Randall is. I'm only guessing that smaller people have necks. That's a thing you guys have, right? I don't know. Sorry.
The best way to protect ourselves is to find out what's causing all of this and end it.
Lead on. I just sort of gingerly step over the soggy janitor guy who is looking at me and nobody at the same time, and I sort of follow along, kind of catching step behind behind Constantine, who's, I'm assuming, following Mike. Yeah, Frank. I'm doing great, you guys.
So, Constantine, I'm going to assume you reload your weapon, right? You put more bullets back in your revolver. So you guys hear the kind of spinning of that behind him, and you want that, was it like a 357 long version of the pistol or some shit, I think. Big pistol. You guys are armed. Remind me of what weapons you guys are carrying, and remind the stream as well, because I don't think they remember any more than I do.
I have a cool Mac 10.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Shit.
You gave me that one, by the way.
Remember the map?
Remember? And remember the two things that I just rolled where I get to act first whenever some fuckery happens?
Oh God!
Who's got an automatic weapon?
Nice job, GM.
And you are
Yeah.
coked, and you are. I'll remind you, not much time has passed, so you are pretty coked up right now.
I got a pocket full of pocket powder and a Mac 10. I don't even know what the fuck that is, but that's like a lot of Macs. I'm
Yes,
super excited.
10 of them. And Frank,
That was
you're
right before
using
Gaslight
like
came
a
out.
shotgun or something.
No. I just have a standard service revolver.
Okay.
I've got about 5 shots remaining.
Okay, got it. Okay, so
That's one for each of us.
from the motor pool, sort of, if you're facing the sort of the back of the property, there's a good-sized covered area that looks like it's used to maintain vehicles, and there's a bit of a like a service kiosk attached to that. You know, a place for the folks to get in out of the hot, you know, or get in out of the weather or what have you. And then there's the main building. The side door is the closest to you. You don't know what's around the back of the building. And of course, there was the front door, the sort of mirrored, windowed front of the building. You can hear in the distance the sound of airliners taking off and city sounds.
We must be near the bakery.
Remind me, there was a camera, a security camera, by the loading dock.
There was
If I
there was
remember.
a security camera over the door, and then there was the loading dock, right? So there's the side door. It's one of those big, heavy, institutional kind of metal doors, and then there's roll-up doors. And I don't remember how many we said there were. Let's say 3. If there's a continuity problem there, then hell, reality is a lie.
I'd just be happy that they watched both episodes and paid enough attention to know that
exactly.
there was a
So,
continuity
yeah.
error.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So there could the camera see the front door?
No.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that there's not one in the front, but no, that one cannot see the front. There's all sorts of manicured, sort of landscaped, you know, stuff leading up to the front of the building, and there's a point, probably about a good 60 feet away from the door where the mirrored windows begin and carry on toward the front, and then of course there's a corner that you would walk around to get to the front door, so you would not be in the view of any camera
What time is it?
that you
It's
know of.
mid-afternoon.
Yep.
Or I guess even early afternoon, right? Because we left early to come here.
Early afternoon on a weekend with weekend security.
Well,
Well,
not anymore.
such as weekend security was. Yeah.
So there was a camera out back by the loading bays. I don't see one in the front. These nice reflective mirrors should keep people from seeing in these reflective windows. So I think maybe we should go through the front door.
I love mirrors. I trust them. Let's go. This big blinky thing, which I know exactly what you're doing. That's horrible.
Whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. I don't like you share with me. Yeah.
You
hero.
you walk around toward the front of the building then?
Yep.
Okay.
The big reflective building. That one. Okay.
So as you're crossing the parking lot away from the loading dock, there are drainage gratings in the ground. You step across one of them and you can't help but think back from when you were kids, right? And you would look down into them and you would wonder if the boogeyman lived down there. So Frank, you cross. Randall, you cross. Constantine, movement beneath your feet as you go to step on the grate catches your eye. You're not sure what it is, but there's movement. What do you do?
On the grate,
Mm-hmm.
I will halt and I'll be like, guys, I'll try to catch their attention.
She's sort of, guys, and as you say that, you look down, and stooped down there, in an impossibly stooped, kind of crumpled position, is what looks like it may once have been a person. But someone who hasn't seen the light in just years and years, and it looks up at you and just and hisses. You hear this slightly, guys, as he says, guys, and he's pointing down. You hear this kind of like a whispery sound, and then this sort of wet splashing. This thing runs up into the piping, which is really small. How do you guys react to that? You obviously don't see this, but he's calling your attention to the grating.
What is it? We don't have a whole lot of time. We can't be out in the open like this.
Yeah, don't play with the animals, priest. Come on, we gotta go inside.
The piping it ran into, does it lead into the building?
It does go toward the building, yes.
Guys, there was some type of being like the one that, I just had a relationship with. It was a good relationship, but it was very short-lived.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough of that. We'll talk about that later. It was in there. It ran into the building.
Yeah, but we have a key.
Okay, yeah. All right, let's not worry about it. Let's go.
I mean, did it look like an inviting pipe?
It hissed at me.
We're going through the door.
Okay.
I mean, sorry, Hero, are we going through the door?
So I'm studying Bianchi's face. The hairs on the back of my neck have raised a little bit, and I'm a bit shaken at the thought of encountering something like that again.
You kind of look down into the grating. You'd like to think the priest is crazy, but the little muddy water that's down there is still rippling. Sign of its passing. There's something down there, for sure.
It's okay, Frank, my son. God will protect us.
I try not to crack a smile. My hand goes to the small of my back. I'm feeling the bone of my hips, malnourished, hungry, bruised. And I feel the cold metal of my service revolver tucked into my torn and worn out waistband. And it brings me back to being a detective and to being on the streets and to finding my own security and knowing how to handle myself. And so instinctively I grip the handle, take a deep breath, and I let it go. We've got a mission. We've got something we've got to take care of. We'll handle ourselves. Let's go.
So you turn, you walk up onto the sidewalk that kind of skirts the actual campus part, right, of the building, of the property, and around to the front, which leads to a walkway. And it's clear that there's some kind of sprinkler system or something here because the grass is fairly green. The hedges are very well maintained. You step up to the front. Give me an observe the situation roll, whoever's in front. I'm thinking Frank.
Sorry, the character sheet opens up in a different window.
I love
Where you
that.
at?
Fantastic. So 3 questions.
All right, can you paint the picture one more time?
So you're walking around the corner. There you pass a sort of institutional size mailbox, right? Stepping up toward the narrower walkway that leads right up to the door. The doors are double doors. They are mirrored, of course, and there's fairly polished handles there. What might you be looking for as you approach?
Sure. The first thing I would notice is obviously just how shitty I look. And just a fragment of the man that I used to be. But I do remember the man that I was. And the one thing that I know that I would need to check for is any sort of security alarm. A big fancy building like this likely has some assets to protect, and they would do it with a security system of some sort. And so I would check the telltale corners, blinking lights in the window or wires coming up the top of the door sill, to see if there's any sort of alarm system that may be there.
It does in fact appear as if there is an alarm. You notice the wire indicative of sensors, kind of up in the ceiling and the eaves where the sort of evening lights would come on. Looks like there's some kind of sensor there to pick up, daylight, darkness. But yeah, there is a blinking light that you can barely discern through that mirrored door. What else?
So a blinking light would tell me that the alarm is armed, which makes it unlikely that there's anybody actually in the building.
Or whoever's in the building does not want to be disturbed.
That is true. These newfangled alarms do have a stay as well as an away mode.
Beep,
It's
boop,
impossible
beep,
to tell.
beep, boop, beep.
You know, in my many years of police work, I've found that not all alarm systems are created equal, right? And even sometimes a rookie burglar can find ways to disarm these things. And so is there perhaps a control panel or maybe a circuit breaker or a power wire that I could discern to maybe disarm the alarm?
These are typically run in a way that's not accessible from the outside. So very likely so, but it would be inside. You're not sure how fallible these are, but you would have some familiarity as a cop, right, of different ways to defeat these. So I will allow you, if you get in, a role of act under pressure to come up with that idea. Last question.
Three questions. It sounds good at the time. Trying to come up with like 3 right questions.
I'll let you hold it.
Okay. Yeah, because I've got one, but I don't know that it's going to be really super beneficial.
Well, but that's when you're looking around. What's the question? Just throw it out there. Throw it out there. Who knows?
So we saw the guard at the front when we came in, and I'm not 100% sure, and I don't know that Frank is either, whether or not the guard that we found at the foot of the van is the same one. He was certainly not in the same condition as the guy that we found at the booth. Is there any other movement present? Probably not within the building. I think I would not have. Frank would not be searching too hard once he saw the flashing light. I think he would assume that means there's nobody inside. But
yeah,
you're still in the middle of the day.
So you look around, and of course the reflection is a problem because you can see the sort of planes behind you in the distance, and every once in a while there's sort of a car going along the highway. But it's very distant because you're kind of set back off of the main road, as you recall. Not really. You feel isolated here, which is good and bad. Randall, waiting as Frank kind of observes and looks around, and he's kind of not touching the door, right, but methodically kind of checking out the situation. You've done everything you can to avoid sort of looking into that mirror.
Mm-hmm.
But there is that moment when you glance toward him as he kind of makes a noise when he notices the alarm. There's a shadow just behind you. Lithe, feminine, not the shadow of a cast by a person, but an absence of light. She's standing there with her arms slack at her sides, just staring. It's like she's waiting for something. Give me a roll to keep it together.
Great. Let's see what that is. Window. Together.
It's roll plus willpower.
Sorry. Sorry, guys.
For fuck's sake,
Pocket
man.
blow. Sorry, guys.
Here comes the fuckery.
Good news. I noticed there wasn't any fuckery here, so I brought some from home.
So the way this works is a roll of 9 or below. Basically, the strain is too much for your mind to handle. And I get to choose your reaction. So cower, powerless in the threat's presence, panic with no control of your actions, or suffer emotional trauma, or even suffer life-changing trauma. Guys, you're there. Of course,
Constantine, you're there. You've got your gun. Frank, you're checking out the door. And from behind you, you hear this kind of exclamation, this sudden anger as Frank charges the door and puts his booted, or I'm sorry, yes, Randall charges the door and puts his booted foot straight through the glass. Just, fuck you, you fucking whore, fuck you. He's kicking in the glass and kicking in the glass. What do you do?
I'm shocked, absolutely shocked, and after half a second, I put my hands around his shoulders and I pull him away from the door, partly to stop him from hurting himself, but also, for fuck's sake, Randall,
Give me an engaging combat roll.
here.
Give me an engaging combat roll. Not to hurt him, obviously, but to kind of actually restrain him.
Yeah.
No. Yes, actually, yes. Your initial reaction, yes, to get loose, yes.
Oh, he beats the brakes off me. Great. Okay. Your casual pull rips my arm off.
I could have acted. I'm going to use act under pressure. So if that's a different, is that roll plus coolness? Yeah. So I'm sorry. Give me an act under pressure roll. I like that better.
Went from a +3 modifier to a -2 modifier.
Just reach up and snap his neck. Okay.
Yeah, I want my arm.
So the result there is you're able to do it, Frank, but you hesitate. Just trying to sort out what goes on, which matches your description. You're delayed a little bit. And so I get to reveal an unexpected outcome, a high price or a difficult choice. So you know from the sound that you hear, as soon as he kicks in that window, you know from the beeping that you're hearing, it's almost like you know that alarm. You know exactly the kind of an alarm. In fact, maybe you might have even had one at home. You have seconds. You can worry about him and restrain him, or you can deal with the alarm. Your arms are on his shoulders. What do you do?
So, real quick, he kicked in the glass. Can you help describe? Did he? Is it just like a small hole at the bottom, or did the whole glass shatter?
It's
the door is obviously still locked, right?
It's about a 4x3 hole, big enough that you can see into the lobby, the sort of gaudy 80s carpet, with the shattered mirrored glass all over the place.
Is this the door?
Yeah, the big glass door. So I grab his shoulders and I pull him away.
And again, continuity,
like I said,
it
to
might
make
have
sure
been a
that
wood
he doesn't.
door. But anyway, you grab his shoulders and you pull him away.
Yeah, partly to make sure he stops hurting himself, but partly because now there's an alarm going off. And as soon as I've got him away, it's a single swift move, probably well beyond what my frail body should be able to handle. And I sort of shove him out of the side as I shoot through the hole and try to scour for the pin pad.
Let's have an avoid harm roll.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
You get through and make sure you don't get all cut up.
Have I stopped kicking?
That's not great.
Yeah.
Oh, we're all dead.
No, you just made a really bad judgment call as you dive through, Frank. You realize that your senses are just dull in your state, and you feel the sensation of the glass just tearing into your back as you dive through. You don't know how bad it is, but you definitely feel the pain and then the warmth of the radiating injury, but also the blood kind of running into your ass crack as you stand. But you're safe. You're not going to die, but you're definitely cut.
So mission 1 is to get this alarm shut off before things get much worse. I'll worry about the wound.
Act under pressure, please.
Okay.
Randall, what are you doing? You've been thrown off, and I think I made it shit. I think I made it clear what the state of affairs was. What?
Yeah, during my little moment of absolute anger and frustration at the giant reflective surfaces, we've essentially converted this room into a bunch of little shiny surfaces. So I'm less than fucking thrilled. I'm probably yelling profanity at Frank because he grabbed me and stopped me from what I was doing.
Constantine,
Again.
what are you doing? So Randall is still just on a tirade. He's just cursing, and he went from cursing at some woman that's not there, and suddenly he's screaming at Frank. Frank just dove through, and you saw he ripped his back wide open on that glass.
I will gingerly try to step through without cutting myself.
You're gonna leave Randall freaking out on the front lawn?
Oh, I'm sorry. Randall's on the front lawn. Oh,
yeah,
okay,
Randall's
okay.
still outside. Yeah.
Don't worry, I got a Mac 10. I can still reach you. It's fine.
No, I'll go and help Randall then. I'll kneel down next to Randall and try to soothe him and calm him, and whisper sweet nothings in his ear, like it's okay, man.
Read the room. Read
Give me
the room.
a So you've got a thing.
Give me a
What's
bad
it
idea.
called?
That's the team
Charismatic aura. Right?
I do, yes.
What is that all about? I think that might apply here.
I want to use my avoid harm shit. Like, you can't do this. No.
I think that works. I think it's on page 113. Yeah. So you radiate an aura that makes people trust you and seek your company. So I think at this moment when you're really trying, I'm gonna let you roll. Roll plus soul, and you get to choose some outcomes here.
Dude's fucking seducing me because Frank left me alone. Dude's a predator. He don't like me because my neck isn't all broken and wobbly.
Well,
Oh fuck. We have sex.
so you get to choose. You get to. I'll let you choose the outcome that you're looking for here, CJ. But you're going to untrack some unwanted attention. So I get to make a little bit of a move. So what are you trying to achieve here? You're trying to just get him to calm down.
Calm him down because he was yelling at nothing, and he seems in pain. I want to calm him, soothe him.
So the one thing that you notice, Randall, as he puts his hand on you and he's speaking so softly, you see in the distance that same shadow, not in the mirror, just kind of at the edge of the fence. And it's like she's moved away. It's like she's afraid of something about your interaction. She's afraid of the priest. You're sure of it.
Well, she is rather young. You guys must have had a different upbringing than me.
I'm going to create an outtakes rule of just you saying bad shit about poor Constantine under your breath.
Poor Constantine.
I think that actually I'm just gonna roll with it. That blows my mind because that's unheard of so far. That is completely unheard of. She does not back up. She does not fear. She is fear. So this is a major discovery. If she's unwilling to be near me when the priest is for some reason trying to grab my arms, at the very least, this is information that I need to process and I need to log. I'm gonna be so shocked by this that I'm gonna stop freaking out. I'm just gonna go. I think I'm just gonna go calm and be like, all right, hands off. I get it. Yeah. I know. That was dumb. That was dumb. It was a bad fucking move. No more touching.
so right about that point, Frank, you kind of made it through the door, obviously, and you're kind of trying to figure out what's going on with the alarm. You look around, you see the blinking panel, and you're like, oh God, yes, I need to disrupt this thing. And you head over there because you know that there's a head unit attached to the panel. You follow the conduit over and kind of rushing through, not even aware of your surroundings, and you see it. And then the alarm goes off. Bee boo, bee boo, bee boo, bee boo. An 80s sort of 8-bit chime.
It's an old-timey ambulance. We're saved.
Bee boo, bee boo, bee boo. It's loud, but it's not bringing in the FBI. It's just ear-piercing. Bee boo, bee boo. You guys hear this outside. What do you do, Frank, as you look around? I'm not going to continue to make the noise, but hear it in your head.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's looped. Man, I've never interacted with an alarm system from the 80s, so I'm having a really hard time knowing like what's appropriate to roleplay.
You would know
my clip.
You would no. You would know that the the main control unit is never the thing that you're worried about. The bit with the buttons, right? It's a head unit that controls doors and other things. It's a controller, and you can see the sort of industrial gray piping going up and along the wall back to this back corner, which is sort of behind a reception desk, and it's hanging on the wall. You see it there, clear as day. And if you want to take the time, you could probably dismantle the thing.
Yeah, that's probably the best bet, and to do it as quickly as I can. And so I don't know the pin code. I don't know the way to disarm this otherwise. So I make my way over to the head unit or the control panel, and have a look.
So many places have this behind locked doors, but many don't. If they don't have the appropriate facilities, you consider yourself fortunate. This is not high security environment, or you'd be screwed. But as you approach, basically you see this sort of metal panel on the wall. There is a little kind of chintzy key there, so you're going to have to rip that door off.
Could I check the key ring that I have?
You can. Looking at that key ring, most of them are sort of house-size keys, normal door. But there is one curious, almost pointless little key there. Ironically, it fits.
That's fortuitous.
It is.
Randall made sure that these keys were useless. Randall.
Way to go, hero.
You open the door.
All right, so I open the door. What am I seeing? What am I looking at?
There are things that you as not being an electrician are not super familiar with, but there are basically wire connections and a couple of what look to be like almost like breaker modules that could pull out with enough gusto. But what you see is Frank in a panic. Is a bunch of stuff that if you made bad things happen to it, it might make the sound stop.
Okay. Yeah. So the noise is blaring. My head is spinning. My back is aching, and I hear the arguing out front from Randall and Constantine trying to draw as much fucking attention to this building as they can. And so the only thing I can think to do is to whip out my pistol and to use the hilt of it and start just whacking away at any of the fuses or the circuits or any of the contact points where the real important wires look like they're soldered to the board, and try to break this thing until it stops making that incessant noise.
So somewhere in your head, Frank, you're thinking like you're swinging at this thing, and the sound of their voices and the arguing and whatever the hell's going on out there is just you're thinking of them as you're just wailing on this. And about 5 hits in, there's a spray of sparks, like an 80s style spray of sparks, and beep, boop, boop, boop. A little more sparks just for flavor.
I immediately go back to the door and to holler at these guys. You guys need to get inside here now. Let's go. I got it disarmed.
Was it resisting arrest, Frank? I heard a lot of noise, man.
So you're talking through the busted window there, right? So you step through
I got
the glass.
Head down, sort of.
Can you unlock the door and just open it so no one scratches, like, say, their back?
You gonna let me open it this time? They toss the keys through the door hole at you. They land at your feet. Flip open the heavy bolt.
Okay, good. All right, you got that one? Okay.
And I push the door open for you.
What a heroic thing you just did. Thank you.
So Randall, as the door opens and you're saying that just to kind of get your jab in, standing over his shoulder, maybe 2 arms length distance, is a man. He has an incredibly odd and blank, vacant, almost dead look about him as he stands there with his head kind of slack, and then looks up toward you and makes eye contact as you're saying, "Oh, that was very heroic." What do you do? How do you react?
Is Frank in arm's reach of me?
Yes, Frank is right there at the door. He's just pulled the door open, right? And threw the keys out.
I'm going to grab Frank as fast as I can and pull him towards me.
Frank?
I resist.
He's losing his shit again. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna resist, man. I don't need to be touched by you. You make nothing easy. Fire in the
All right, well, I'm pointing directly the fuck behind you as I do this thing.
Yep. But you reach out and grab. How do you resist? So just think about that. He reaches up and he grabs you, and you're like, "What? You're losing your shit again? Like, how? What are you gonna do?"
Get combat locked up.
Yeah, it's not aggressive. I'm not gonna stick him in the jaw or anything like that. But Frank would take half a step back and sort of throw his body weight back to avoid and sort of tear free any piece of clothing he may have in his hands.
Give me an avoid harm. We'll use that for Frank. Okay. You may have to do 2 in a row, depending on how successful you are with the first one.
What do I roll for a Mac 10 shot? Just so I know for the future.
That's engage in combat.
And just for the future.
So it catches you off guard, and you go to sort of step back, but unfortunately, Randall does, in fact, grab and sort of latch onto your shirt. You start to pull back, but you weren't quick enough. So, Randall, what do? You've got a fistful of his shirt. What do you do?
I'm going to double up on it, and I'm going to pull him towards me and yell, "Trust me," down. Like, move out of the way, drop something.
So,
right the fuck there.
So you're talking
shit better be there.
You're talking shit. I toss the keys of your feet in a fit of frustration.
Yes.
I open the door, and as the door gets open, you grab me and pull me to the ground.
Yes, because a big angry.
No, but nobody knows that because he's not looking that way. So give me a strength roll.
Idea what you're talking about.
I know. That's why I'm trying to yell about it.
Give me a roll plus strength.
Pretty much. Wait, what am I rolling?
Roll plus strength, please. Plus whatever the equivalent strength. Then I get my brain.
That's my strong hand.
Yeah, it's my strong hand.
Okay, let's see. Strength. I don't have a strength.
God damn it! I'm like.
That seems bad.
I know.
Oh.
It's the damn. I'm gonna go to the. Can you see that? No. Hang on.
Am I actually rolling?
No, no. I'm sorry. I don't use violence. Yeah, no. I don't want that. What I want is let's do roll plus reflexes. I'm trying to visualize the appropriate roll, and my bad that it's not a strength. I'll edit that part out. You'll never know. Thanks, guys, for reflex.
Don't edit that part because CJ's transition was fantastic.
Is he gone?
Yeah, and
I'm doing reflexes. You said.
Yep. Nice. I wish that the window were on there. Normally the dice roller's in there, so everyone would see that comment come through.
Oh fuck! Hold on. I'm trying to make it do. Are you sure my modifier is a 0?
What? Yeah, it may be. It may be 0.
Oh wait. Yeah.
You just roll 2d10. Jesus. So surprisingly, the adrenaline clearly, I mean, the cocaine or whatever it is, he just grabs you and rolls, and something about the way he aligns his body and pulls with his weight down, you both go just kind of clattering to the ground. Now, the Mac 10, so is going to clatter off to the side as well, because you're not going to fall down. This is Mac 10. But anyway, so it's...
I wasn't going to use it. You don't need plot armor.
It's there next to you. You hit the ground. Frank, give me a quick observe of the situation. Let's see if you understand, based on that, what's going on.
Can I say that my position is my hands up neutral and like pointing behind him and like looking mouth agape behind him?
Yeah, so like, you roll and you're pointing, and just then you kind of out of the corner of your eye, you see this. So the sunlight kind of spills into that room, right? But just in the area where it starts to wane, there's this man standing there, and he's wearing these really bad kind of like houndstooth dress pants, like those little checkered dress pants, and these sort of wingtip looking shoes, and his hands are down at his side, and he's just sort of standing there, kind of wavering in the doorway. He doesn't seem to be eager to come out into the sunlight.
So I recognize that as I burst through the door, I didn't get a really good look, but would I recognize whether or not he was in an area that I did in fact pass through, or is he sort of off in a corner that I probably didn't look at as I went to the panel?
Your first impression is probably the latter. Probably off to the left. You kind of went in and looked around to the right and immediately were drawn to the right. And he was kind of standing off, maybe there's some shadowy area back up in there where the lights.
Looking through the window.
Fingers are in the blind.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
That one's got drugs. You can tell.
It's a chemical plant. God damn you all.
My head just went into like El Camino. Just fucking Eastwood on his lawn.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna slide on past that one.
Yeah, you did.
What the fuck? Randall, did you see him in there?
Well, I wasn't trying to do the priest thing. I was trying to move the fuck out of the way, man. Did you see that dude?
When you say priest, the man, and I'm going to stand up. I never stand up during this shit, but I have to. So he's kind of standing here with his arms slack, and he starts going and shaking his head back and forth very quickly.
Hey, chat, can somebody clip that, please?
Yes, please.
He's
That's
aroused.
Yes, fantastic. Please, John, if you're out there, make a clip that embarrasses me.
Yes,
That'd be good.
please
I
clip
don't care.
that. That was amazing.
But so he literally just as Constantine is just. What do you? So here's what's happened. You had a moment of clarity. You were praying. I don't know what you're doing. Thank you, guys. That's fucking awesome. We have it. So. Constantine, you were behind this. Basically, what has happened because you were away? The door was opened. Randall saw something behind Frank. Frank was opening the door, so he didn't see it. And then there was a wrestling match. Basically, they fell to the ground. Now they have seen it, and they're looking.
The real thing.
Randall said something about the priest, as he always does. And at that very moment, this thing, which was kind of slack, just starts to undulate. And if you want to see what that looks like, hop on the
Could
Twitch
you stand
channel.
up and
Look at that
show him
embarrassing.
really quick? If you stand up slowly
I'm
and
not
back up
doing
a
it
little bit.
again. I'm not doing it again. Fuck yourself.
No, it takes longer to say no. It takes longer. I'm not
You
going
want
to
to see
let
it
it
again? Who wants to see it again? Let's do it again. All right.
All right,
So,
let's do it again.
yep. All right. Fine. So this is the. Don't judge me. I'm wearing shorts. It's Florida. So he's slack, and he just suddenly starts going and shaking his head back and forth very quickly.
Flip it again.
Can we just make that? What this channel's all about is weird undulating dances with an awkward.
I'm gonna do
camera.
that YouTube thing where they put the same 30-second clip for 10 hours over and over again, and it's just gonna be yeah.
With please with Hillary Clinton's laughter in the background. Ha 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 ha.
Christ.
No, really. So that's what you see, and its head is just. What do you do? This is like trauma films, like 1980 trauma film kind of.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. What do you do?
I'm still on the ground, and if Randall hasn't had the common sense yet, he's still holding on to me.
Priest is flat.
I'm
out
trying to
aroused.
get to my feet as quickly as I can. I fucking moments ago was fighting for my life in a van, and now I don't know what the fuck that thing is, but it is terrifying.
Bring us the priest! Bring us the priest! Bring us the priest! 7, maybe 8 voices in weird, distant choruses saying the same fucking thing. Bring us a priest! Bring us a priest! Different spots in the building.
So I'm up on my feet, and I'm taking large steps back, but not breaking eye contact of this guy. I can't see his eyes, but I can see his his legs and whatever through the hole in the door. And I'm not taking my eyes off of it. I want to make sure that if this thing fucking moves, I know about it. And after about 15 to 20 seconds of just listening to these terrifying voices, I look over at Bianchi sideways and I say, what the fuck are they talking about?
Randall, give me a roll to keep it together while we're at this, because you're seeing this. It's frightening.
Oh, I'm fine.
That's what you've said. The die rolls are not working out for you.
Depending on how the die roll goes, I'm just watching.
It wasn't lime. It wasn't lime juice, actually, for sure.
Yeah, told you.
Yeah, I know.
Keep it together, you said?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm hoping for. Oh shit! I think.
Of course, you're worried.
That's sad.
You're hoping for something horrible.
Yeah, I don't think I got it though.
It's fine. You can use some of your special
Is that
points.
11? Ooh. The effort to resist this situation sort of instills a condition which remains with you until you've had time to recuperate. You get a -1 in situations where this condition would be a hindrance to you, so you become angry, you become sad, which I'm going to ask you to really justify that one. You become scared, you become guilt-ridden. Again, we're going to need a, you become obsessed, you become distracted, or you will be haunted by this at a later time, and I will be mean to you if you pick that one because you're already fucked up. Or the strain is too much for your mind to handle, and I get to choose your reaction. I'm sorry, that's the wrong thing. So you get to choose one, so ignore that last one. So angry, sad, scared, guilt-ridden, obsessed, or distracted.
Double tap there, boss.
What do you do?
I would say that was amused in there.
No. You're looking at the quote.
No. Can I say that I break out into laughter, like as like a weird coping mechanism? No,
you've got
all right.
Angry.
Then I'm very mad because it took until this for the fucking hero to recognize that I've been seeing this whole fucking time. I'm gonna start yelling. It's fucking real. I've been telling you for years, man. It's fucking real.
You scream that, and Randall, that fucking MAC-10, that goddamn MAC-10, it's right at the priest's feet. It's right there. And you know what you have to do. There's no fucking doubt in your mind.
Is it kill the priest?
No,
I need a little bit
like doubt. There was supposed to be no doubt, Steve.
Yeah, but my character is in conflict with me, so I'm trying to.
There's this incessant.
I'm gonna reach
bring
out.
Us the priest. Bring us the priest. Bring us the priest.
And I'm gonna reach over and I'm gonna grab the MAC-10 if I can.
Yes, you scoop it up.
Reach it. And I'm gonna swing it forward, and I'm just gonna fire into the open door.
Okay. So for those of you who don't remember the 80s, for one, MAC-10s are historically just a terribly inaccurate weapon.
Yeah,
but
get three rounds out and it's gonna die.
No, but not in the 80s, because Chuck Norris, bro, he had them on little. He was just MAC-10ing everything. So we're gonna assume it's that version of the MAC-10. So go ahead and give me an engaging combat roll. And I'm gonna give you, for your incredible anger, a +1, just to add to the cinematic.
I got a 1.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
No,
you couldn't.
No, I'm kidding. Where is it? What's it called?
Engaging combat.
Engaging combat. It's under your violence, the bottom right.
And a +1.
Whoop.
So modifier 1.
Yes.
Oh.
God, I'm so sorry.
Sorry, I killed Bianchi.
No.
Oh boy.
Explain to me what you're trying to do. So you have your MAC-10, and once you finish puking from your laughter spell, or bring your head back up from shame, you tell me what do we see? So if we're Constantine and Frank, what are we seeing as you step into this doorway and start, or you start spraying?
I didn't say that I was stepping. I said I was laying down after I pulled Big Boy on top of me. And I grabbed the MAC-10 because he rolled off to the side and was like freaking out. I'm fucking mad at him. I was trying to be super cool and shoot into this open door, which on the other side of this door has angry things. But I'm neither skilled at combat or anything. But honestly, based on how fucking mad I was, I more just wanted a lot of angry noise to come out of my hand.
A lot of angry noise.
To have it actually somehow work, because normally I just operate based on it'll fucking work.
So
blind optimism.
You pick up this MAC-10 and you just spray the door. Glass flies everywhere. Yeah. You don't hit a goddamn thing other than the glass, but glass definitely. You feel so empowered, and the bad thing is. Think of this, like Constantine hasn't seen this thing's face because he wasn't on the ground. Constantine, you're watching as the glass just starts to kind of fly and fall apart, and there's this thing there, and it stops its movement and stares at you and smiles. Well, thanks for that. That's fantastic. We just got followed or something.
Oh, like I hear another voice, man.
I know, right? Those effects freak me out. I forget that they're there. In these games, I'm like... So,
yes, my lord.
Constantine, what do you do? First of all, there's a spray of gunfire, and this thing, this thing, pretty pretty well. It's fucking everywhere, you think.
Okay. I'm gonna pull out my little vial of possibly holy water, and I'm gonna approach it and throw the holy water in his face and start screaming at it.
Okay. Give me a keep it together roll. Let's see how that works for you. Let's see if you can kind of handle that, because that is intense.
We're all gonna die.
Where's
Frank's
that?
over here trying to fight shit.
Nice.
Randall and Bianchi are doing like fucking slapstick Hardy Boy shit.
You just wait till the post game commentary, okay?
Oh, it's so good.
Yes, yes. So you Constantine, you step in through the glass, but much the same. So you're trying to keep it together. You're going to have to choose from one of these. So angry, in which case you're going to lose stability. Sad, you'll lose stability. Scared, guilt-ridden, or obsessed. You may become distracted or haunted by the experience at a later time. Which one of those would you like for this situation?
Obsessed.
Done. So what will happen with that then is you'll have +1 relation to this thing, to this entity, this corpse hopping presence. You will
Second base.
Yeah, you guys are
All these
Facebook
relations
official.
with demons.
So you step in. Tell us, what does the camera see? So almost in slow mo, you step and your sort of worn out kind of priest shoes crunch the glass, and you approach it. What do you say to it? What's up, baby? What do you what do you say?
No. The old movie style of the power of Christ compels you. As I throw the water in his face.
It's it's 83, so the movie just came out. That holds up.
Yeah. So
That's how I became a priest. I just watched that a lot.
You have your vial in your left hand, and you have your gun in your right, because you've still got that, right? The power of Christ compels you, and you splash the thing, and it goes, and just starts barfing water. Got water too, Father. It says. What do you do? You're from you're 2 feet away, and it's just laughing and spitting. Stop it, Steve.
It's that dude off of X-Men. He just collapsed in the water. The senator, like,
what do you do?
I'm gonna pull my my 357 out.
You are at point blank range. Give me I'm gonna give you a +2. I'm not looking at
can't you
fucking
just
rolls
bless
right
the
now.
water?
The water's already blessed. It's just dirty.
That's a 200 IQ move, is to
Yeah.
bless the holy water coming out of his mouth.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
Like a fuse in a gas tank, he would just explode with holy water.
They're like, "What's that?" Thanks.
Yeah, give me that engaging code. Did you roll 13? No, that was
That was before.
yeah.
Do I have something for freezing?
Nice. So you're going to inflict damage. You get to choose from one of these, though, and then we'll sort out what plays out. So you're subjected to a counterattack. You do less damage than intended. You might lose something important. Gotta figure that one out. You expend all your ammo, probably not the case. Or you're beset by a new threat. Or you'll be in trouble later on. You pick.
Beset by new threat.
So
Make it fun.
you put your gun to this thing's head as it's going and just barfing out water, and you pull the trigger, and skull fragments and brain fly everywhere. The top half of this thing's head just and flies and just scatters across this lobby, which you haven't even really had time to think about how nice the paint and the drapes are. But it just falls backwards. Give us a priest. Give us a priest. And there's silence. The noise stops. And the silence is almost more troubling than what was there before. What do you guys do? Bianchi, you see him, and just kind of on the other side of him, this thing falls over, and he's there with a smoking 357.
Is that a holy bullet? The fuck was that? You've been holding out on us with holy bullets? The water didn't work?
What is Constantine doing? I know this is cracking you up, CJ, but what is Constantine doing there? Is because I just picture him there with his revolver. What's he doing?
Oh, I kick ass for the Lord.
I lower my revolver and look a little abashed, and the power of Christ is within me. And I'll try to help out my friends.
I thought you were gonna say I try to help up the guy that I just shot. So you turn and
Sorry.
I didn't
So
mean to
there's-
shoot you.
Sorry.
there's still bits of glass, little bits, falling right from the Mac 10 blast. And Randall, you're probably halfway through a clip, let's say.
Yeah, but I got like a lot.
Yeah, you got totally a lot. And some cocaine. Cocaine's probably dry now. It's like pudding.
Don't tease me.
What do you do, Frank? This is chaos. What do you do?
I'm at a loss of words. Whatever the hell that thing was came up behind me, and Randall grabbed me, and before I could even get to my feet, he starts blasting away at the glass, and then the priest tries holy water, and then he shoots him, and he dies. Was that a man? Was that something else? I start to approach the building. I have not said a word. Completely just dumbfounded. And I sort of stand in the doorway, this empty shell of a metal frame with that nice little like bar that goes across, and all the glass is just broken out. And I'm just trying to comprehend the scene in front of me, the bits of brain matter and skull fragments all over the back of the reception desk, and this headless dead entity at the foot of the preacher, who up to now didn't even know how to use a fucking gun, and 15 minutes ago he almost killed himself in the back of that van. I have no words.
So you step into the door, right? And the priest's arm is kind of coming down next to him as he's reveling over this, looking around. Randall, what do you do? Well, you've just sprayed the hell out of the door. Maybe it was just access. You know, you contributed, but you got this.
Fuck yeah, I probably injured it.
What do you do?
Yeah, like I warmed it up for him.
You step in, rejoining
I feel
your
like you're
friends.
asking me for more stuff. So yes, I'm gonna follow in. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna want to see what the damage was, to see what actually happened. I see this body just spread across the floor over there. I don't assume it's blocking. Is it blocking the hallway behind it?
No.
or-
So one thing that you see
Because I
as
think
you
I'm-
step in, it's not unusual, right? You step in and looking to make sure you don't step on something because there's glass everywhere. You step and there's a slight shift in a larger piece of glass, and you see her face, and she says, "Shh." You step in and look around. So there's 80s furniture. There's a sofa off to the kind of left in a tile area. It's a naga hide, right? Fake leather. There's a table and some Life magazine and Time magazine. It's kind of spread out for people who might be waiting.
People for people.
Right, exactly. For customers, right? Salespeople, whomever that might come in. There's a reception area, which is sort of a half-round desk. Off to the right, you can see the mangled remains of the alarm system that Frank Quinn went apeshit on only moments ago. And then to the left, there's a doorway which seems to lead back into the back of the office. So essentially, you're in the lobby. Along the right-hand wall are a whole bunch of displays about chemicals, some sort of pamphlets and sales brochures and that sort of stuff. There's little flecks of brain actually over on the edge of that display from that fantastic headshot. What do you do?
Me?
The distributed you. What does the you do?
The royal we.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn to Frank. because as far as I can tell, honestly, he's more of a hero than I am. So,
but you can't say it out loud. You guys have to fist fight some more.
no, fuck no, I can't. And I just try to pull him on top of me, and he just the look in his eyes, at the disappointment in his own body as he crumbled towards me. I'm pretty sure that was my own death.
Father.
They witnessed. Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that later.
yeah, I bet I am.
So I'm standing in the doorway, and my mind is racing, and I'm still. It doesn't. You can't tell what's going on inside the mind of Frank Quinn, but inside there's this conversation, and you have to go forward. You have to find out. You're so close. You have to find out what happened to them. You have to find out what happened to A-Bomb. But what if there's more? And what if you're next? You're not as quick as you used to be. You're not as strong as you used to be. You're not as sharp as you used to be, and you're not going to do them any good dead. And this sort of image of Randall mocking me and calling me the hero. And I recognize that in every joke there's a little bit of truth. And he chose the word hero because, you know what? Maybe I am. Maybe I'm his hero in ways that he's not willing to admit or able to admit. There have been some dark nights, and I've been there to help him. And I have to. We have to. And so I grab the door handle and I pull open this empty frame, and it sort of jiggles as it comes loose without the weight of the glass holding it in. And I step in, my Sunday shoes, because they're holy, stepping on the glass.
Such a guy.
Constantine loves your shoes. Yeah, that's good.
Making popping sounds on the glass as they break under my feet. I've seen dead bodies before. It's not the body that's got me rattled, but it's what it represents. But that's why we're here, is to find out what this is and to stop it. And so I think for the very first time, Frank puts his hand on Constantine's shoulder.
Step up next to him, looking over the corpse of this thing. What do you say? You put your hand on his shoulder.
Good job. Let's get going.
That'll do, pig.
Little butt tap. Good game.
So, as you're looking, you're kind of glancing down there, right? Constantine's sort of fixated. And in some way, it's almost as if he knows the work is not done. So the corpse is splayed out as a corpse might be if the top of its head was blown off. You can see fractions of its sort of the palate of its mouth. The rest is a ruined pile of meat. You can see his dental work on the bottom actually looked like he had maybe a bridge, and his tongue is kind of there at a weird angle, and it's longer than a tongue should be. And you can thank Constantine for this role. You say, good job, and you look down, and the tongue just starts to... and my microphone gets ruined. Fantastic. Oh, hang on. There we go. I'm used to being at a table where I can get up and act like a jackass without consequences. So you see this, and the thing just fucking sits up. Constantine, you feel the tongue slap you a couple times in your, because it's close to you, right? So as it sits straight up, it's blah, blah, and it's getting longer, impossibly long. Here's your backup threat. What do, Frank? This is not cool. How do you react?
At this point, I think I'm a little bit more steadfast than I was moments ago. I've resolved that this is happening, and regardless, hell or high water, I am the hero. And I have to be the hero. And so, just like I would on the Force, I reach into the small of my back, maybe a little shocked at how wet it is, and I reach for my service revolver and I point it at this thing's chest.
You reach back and you grab your gun, and you can. I mean, you're even just by doing that, your hand is coated in your own blood. Go ahead and engage in combat. As he reaches back and pulls his gun, Constantine, how do you react to that? Because this is unexpected for you as well.
I guess in my mind, I think, well, this is what I get for trusting in mortal weapons. And I'll start yelling at it in tongues, and I will try to exorcise that demon.
All right. I'll let you make a roll against your fantastic your aura, because this is your moment. Like, you could use that. Randall, how about you? So this is bad because it's going and spittling blood and nasty shit everywhere. What do you do?
Technically, you did say I have half of my rounds left.
You do, and I will say as well, you have some act first, right? You can act first. Don't forget, right? You could, because that was your sixth sense roll. You're gonna, what are you gonna spray this thing down?
I'm pretty sure that. Oh shit! Where's Frank in this? Where am I standing?
So I'm going to assume that you're off to the right of the priest, because you were in there first. You were in there first, remember, because you kind of pressed through. You came in, and then Frank came in behind you. So go ahead. I'll give you a +5 because I think you're very close, range-wise. And if there are rules lawyers out there, I don't care. It's about the drama.
You want this to work?
For God's sake, I want you to blow Frank's scrotum off is what I don't want. +5, it's going to be engaged in combat, which is under. It's under violence.
Don't do that.
Yeah, it's under violence.
5, 10. Yay!
Jesus, you're so bad. Okay, it's probably not as bad as we think it is.
Anything cool to fix that?
No, you don't get like
my cool hero moment.
Hey, did we? I forgot what we decided last time, guys. What we decided, there was going to be a special thing that you guys got for something, but I don't know. No, Randall, is what it comes down to.
Why'd you even give me a Mac 10?
But you picked it up. It was just on the bed. So your attack goes awry again for the second time. The Mac 10s are very inaccurate.
He's gonna take my gun.
You proceed, Randall, to step up and just spray the living shit out of the carpet next to this thing. You're just like, yeah! And just shoot the shit out of the carpet. It sits up and just goes and wraps its tongue around your wrist, and it hurts. It squeezes, and you can feel your wrist bones kind of compressing, and you drop the gun. You guys see this in just a fleeting second. What do you guys do?
So I've already pulled out my firearm, and I've got it pointed at its chest.
Give me that roll.
And so I did. It was the 17 that was up there.
I didn't see that. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't let it go. If it was like a 12, yeah, I'd take it.
Like, I'm not going to say.
What, a 9?
Nah.
That was a 9 with a +5.
I know. My scrotum went.
Oh. So you lean in, you press this thing right into its heart, and you and it just kind of it lifts up off the ground, right? And you just notice it goes limp. And this tongue, which at this point is incredibly long, and at its sort of terminal length, the bit that you would think would stop at the esophagus, it becomes some other kind of flesh that shouldn't be in a person. Randall, you feel it release its grip. You've got a red mark wrapped around your wrist. What do you do?
I back up and I yell at Frank to shoot him again. Something's wrong. This doesn't fucking work. He can keep the goddamn gun.
Its tongue flops as you step back from it, dropping your Mac 10, or you drop your Mac 10 already. Constantine, what do you do?
If it looks dead,
Giant angry tongue. New thing.
Is it moving?
Not anymore.
I thought he said it released you.
Yes, it let him go, and he backs up from it quickly, right? Which it flops onto the carpet, and it's sort of spasming, and you can't tell if it's because there's life left in it, or maybe it's dead. Whatever dead means to these things.
I'm just gonna go attend to Randall and try to help him.
So Randall, it's the equivalent of having a rope, sort of a hemp rope, right, wrapped around your wrist and just pulled. without the obvious fiber burn there, but just the pressure that this thing was able to exert.
Yeah.
And this is just the lobby.
Don't worry, we have a Frank. He's pretty fresh.
Fresh Frank.
You're slightly behind me, right? Like you see the
Now I am.
Yeah. The everything from the waist down of my old and tattered trench coat is just soaked in blood.
I look a little concerned. I notice Frank's injuries are a little worse than I thought. But that's Frank, man. Frank gets injured and shakes it off. He'll be fine.
Constantine, you'd probably notice this as well. The blood, as Michael said, is just everywhere down his back. You don't know what the cuts themselves look like, but the shirt's torn. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
So there's this eerie silence that creeps in. There's an occasional clink of glass and sort of some sound that the corpse is making as it continues to be dead. The casserole noise, right? Like when you stir a casserole. Corpse noises. We should create a
celery in the Foley room.
We should create a CD. Corpse Noises by K-Tel Records.
Band name.
Noises to corpse by.
What do you do in this lobby? Do you look at some sales pamphlets?
Frank is standing with the resolve of a lion, suddenly with like a new purpose, a new resolve. He's come to a conclusion that this is what we're doing. He looks injured. He absolutely looks injured, and that gouge, can't really see it, but it looks like it could be deep. It tore through. Obviously, it tore through the heavy woolen trench coat that he wore, as tattered as it was, and then the shirt that he had underneath it. And he doesn't appear to be in pain. If he is, he's doing a really good job hiding it, but he definitely looks hurt. And so after a moment, having just put the butt of my gun against this thing's chest and fired a hole where its heart should have been, Frank puts the revolver behind, in the back waist pocket, the waistband of his pants, and secures it there, and pulls a hand back and looks to see the blood on his knuckles and wipes it on the front side of his woolen trench coat. And let's go this way. Let's check the back rooms over here.
So as you step past the corpse and just kind of taking a wide berth around it, notice something curious about the magazines on the table in the waiting area. The clothing, the people on the front of them, the art, the style of photography, the font. It's not modern. It's not 80s, right? Like, this is the fucking 80s, man. More like late 60s. There's some mod going on, some real bleached out photos. All of them. And usually in these days, because most of the time people just stare at their phones now, right? But you would put these things out so they have the latest shit to look at in your waiting area.
Yeah, I think Frank would have taken note of that for sure. I'm not sure that it's like noteworthy in the sense of I don't know that I would have called the comrades to circle around the coffee.
Yeah. Hey everyone, come let's stare at this magazine. No,
right, but it's definitely odd, and being a detective for so many years, there were many waiting rooms that I had to come through to handle small challenges here and there, and so I think that's something that would have drawn my attention for sure.
Yeah.
So I take note of it.
So you kind of glance and you move on. You move back to the door. So this is a kind of heavy wooden door, no window. And there's, basically says private to let folks know that it's not the restroom, which ironically is a door just to the left of the private door. There's a planter there with a fake plant that looks like it hasn't been watered in forever because it's fake. It's still just green and happy, and despite the sort of aged atmosphere elsewhere. What do you do? There's a door to the left. It says restroom.
I listen at the door for any sort of sounds of movement, right? I imagine these heavy wooden doors are not going to let a whole lot of sound pass through, but I should be able to hear the clattering of furniture or the closing of another door or maybe heavy footsteps on linoleum flooring.
As you listen, you don't. As you listen, you're almost overly sensitive to the sort of stale scent of the smoke here. It's like a bar that hasn't been open in a long time, right? Like a carpeted place that's been smoked in, but not for a long time. You listen. You hear. And then a very distant laugh, like straight out of Evil Dead, kind of like, ah, cackle laugh. Very distant on the other side of the door.
And once again, the hairs on the back of Frank's neck stand up straight. His arms are covered in goose pimples. And he turns to the group and he says, "There's more back there. You should be ready." And so with one hand, I grab my revolver and quickly check that the 4 shots that I think are still in there are there. And with the other, I rest it on the door handle and I look to the group. You guys ready to go?
Randall's unarmed.
I mean, I do have more ammo, so I guess I just reach down and pick up my...
You step back, you step over to the corpse, and then you seem kind of stepping away. You grab your gun.
Yeah.
Can pretty much figure it out. Yeah, I mean, you've seen an episode probably of Miami Vice or something where you put the click man.
Yeah, I did it.
You figured it out before. You step back, you're all ready. Constantine with your probably 4 bullets left at the no. Yeah, something like that.
I'm gonna reload
5.
my revolver.
You're there at the door. What do you do?
You guys are ready? We can go.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing out here for us. We go figure out what makes a little pitter-patter noises. Let's go do that.
Frank thinks for a second. And he turns to Randall. "Hey, man. You want to go grab those keys?"
Can I go to the bathroom first? Okay, fine. I'll get the keys. I'm gonna go grab the keys. I turn around and I walk the 5-10 feet out of the little burst window or burst front door, and I grab the keys where they were. I think they were.
And they're at your
dropped,
feet.
they were
right?
Yeah,
Something
just
like
right
that,
there at the
some
door.
shit.
Yeah, because they're sort of showered with little broken glass bits.
Yeah, it's fine.
You never know.
I'm a lot more cautious than Frank, so I don't cut myself at all. Because I pay attention.
This motherfucker.
So you get your keys in your hand, and you try to avoid the reflective surfaces.
I make a little joke about, "Hey, be careful, there's glass here." And
So once Randall has come back and he's with us, I give a final nod, and I check the door handle to see if it's unlocked.
It is very much unlocked. It's a sort of a lever of a handle, and it's kind of sculpted, sort of floral pattern, right? Like filigree kind of thing. You turn it, and it's heavy. It's like, well, not, it doesn't take all of your strength to open it like a dungeon door, but you kind of open it. There's a bit of a squeak, and the sound though is so muted because of the thick 80s carpet, right? You open it, and how does that look, right? So you're one gun in one hand and you open it and look in, or do you open it and let them be standing there wide open?
It's slow, and so almost in scout formation, I've got these guys sort of off to the side, right? And so they're standing on to the side that the door opens against, right? And so slowly turn the handle, and I pull it open slowly. I know they're in there, and I've got a pretty good idea that it doesn't really matter how quiet we are. They're going to know we're here. But habits die hard. And so I open the door slowly, gun down at my side, and I stick my head through and I try to peer and make an idea of the situation before I pull the door all the way open.
You start to pull the door open. And as you do so, you're kind of pulling it open and looking, you can hear this sort of crisp sort of crunch sounds, or like you're not sure what to make of it. It's almost like
Fortune cookies.
maybe that. But it's a varied level of attenuation. Some you can hear the highs and some are muffled. And very soon you realize, you think probably just around the corner, maybe something's chewing on something, and that unnerves you. But there in the hallway in front of you, which stretches back quite a ways, there's doors indicating offices. There's a row of file cabinets to the left. Because of the dependence on paper, if you come in, there's an alcove to the right with sort of two rows, one on each side of the alcove of just file cabinets. And in there is where you sort of hear this sound. Are you standing desking? You're so responsible. I love that. Are you going to do the dance? Are you going to do the give us a breeze dance? So you've opened the door. There is sound coming this way. Sound.
Sorry. Frank hears a sound and he makes note of it. Does it sound like it's further down the hallway, maybe behind a door, or does it sound like it's really close? Can I tell?
So as you open the door, call it 3 steps in, there's a piece of sort of arbitrary office art on the wall immediately inside the door to your right. And then about 6-7 inches beyond the frame is a little alcove. It's a short hallway, right? That seems to go behind the reception area. And there's you can see just from the edge of this sort of looking in, there's a row of file cabinets there. But then directly ahead of you is a much longer hallway. On the left side is a row of file cabinets that go about, say, 8 feet. And then there's doors indicating offices, and doors on the right indicating offices. The problem is the sound is coming from inside of this alcove.
So,
can we just pull the door?
So Frank closes the door, not all the way, but he sort of like pulls his head back out and half closes it, and he fills these guys in. There's something here. I don't know what it is. It does not sound friendly.
It sounds private, though.
You guys have your weapons ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's do it. And so Frank's gun is close and at his side, and he opens the door, and we walk through the doorway together.
So you step in. Frank, I'm assuming you're first. Is that the way that plays out? Or do you open the door and let them go first?
Sure.
No, I'm absolutely in front.
You step in. So as you step into this alcove, you first of all, you have no external source of light, and you're getting far enough away from any windows at this point where it's dark. You notice there's an emergency light, which seems to have been tripped maybe some time ago, and you can see sort of the exit light way down the hallway, probably the one that leads back out into the parking lot, now that you're thinking it, with the camera over it. As you step in and look into this alcove, it goes probably, you'd think, 12 to 15 feet back, and it gets real dark in there. You can hear the sound cloaked in the darkness, and there is movement at about ground level, but you can't tell at all what the fuck it is. Just Randall, do you spray the entire area with your fantastic MAC-10? I was kidding. Please don't spray the area.
I want to, but so far it's worked horribly.
You
So,
gather in here. You all hear this noise. Constantine, what do
Yeah.
you make of this?
You said Constantine, right?
Yeah.
I just heard my name. I didn't hear what you asked.
No, I asked. You sort of step in and you're there and kind of looking into this alcove, and in the darkness there's this sort of crunching, chewing, slopping sound going on, which Randall described as private time.
I'm going to motion for us to just continue down the hall.
Frank?
Yeah. So when I realize that we're standing in the alcove, and this thing hasn't actually noticed that we're here yet, I think it better that we just try to move on without alerting it. And so, put a finger to my lips, and I turn and I make eye contact with Bianchi, who's obviously already got the same idea because he's already motioning that we hightail it to the other way. And so I give him a subtle nod and turn the other side and make eye contact with Randall.
Give me an act under pressure roll for all three of you guys. An act under pressure roll.
Oh, because I was going for the optimistic interpretation, which means spraying with a Mac 10. I was like, oh, that's what you want. Okay.
He's like, okay, guys, be real quiet.
Give me your shotgun.
Yeah.
If I shoot fast enough, we can use the muzzle flash as a flashlight.
Everyone get in line. Keep it together.
Okay.
Act under pressure.
Okay.
Act under pressure.
I can't pressure. Hold on. I've already screwed up.
No, you did keep it together. That's funny. I was like, I mean, you might need it in a second.
Act under pressure.
All right.
In case there was a difference. The 12 and the 12.
We're doing real well, Jason.
Yes.
Real well.
Act under pressure. I'm pressured.
So the result of 9, 11 would basically be complicated, but the cardinal one here is the result of 9, which basically is you make a serious mistake and are exposed to danger, and I get to make a move. So suddenly, as you're kind of like, come on, you let go of the door, not thinking about the fact that it's gonna close, and it does with a heavy kind of 80s ka-trunk.
Things.
Yeah. The chewing stops abruptly, and there's an awkward second before this mass of fucking hair just comes hauling ass out of the darkness, and a Doberman, a very sizable one at that looks like it hasn't eaten literally ever. Its leg is kind of broken and dragging behind it, its rear leg, as it just fucking charges you. What do you do? It's going after Frank, because Frank's delicious.
I'm gonna take the benefit of the doubt and know that, and assume that Frank knows he fucked up immediately, right? So he's aware of the danger, he's trying to avoid it, and I think the second he makes the mistake, he's gonna know, fuck. And so he's going to swing his arm. He's already got his pistol in his hand, and he's going to swing it around. It's dark. I imagine he can't see very well, but the goal is going to be to try to shoot whatever the fuck comes out of that shadow.
Let's first roll to avoid harm as the dog charges you and is going to attempt to cause you some bad things. Cause you some great discomfort. What the hell page is it? 125. Jesus Christ, I'm going the wrong way. I was looking at stats for guns and kind of like drooling there for a second. Sorry, I apologize.
Is my Mac 10 good?
So you avoid the worst of it, right? This thing pins you against the wall. You feel several sharp bites. 2 of them are in your groin, because that's kind of what you're pressed against those file cabinets. You get that bang, and that kind of aluminum file cabinet rattles behind you as this thing just... You guys see more about the dog than he sees, right? He's just being attacked, and he's reacting. So... yeah, it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and let Estes pick because he's dramatic, right? So you're going to wind up basically losing something. I get to decide what that is, and not a body part necessarily, or you're gonna sustain some harm.
I think thematically, losing something, you said not necessarily a body part. My thought would be this thing latches onto my arm and sends my gun flying.
Love it. So this thing comes
You're
in.
the only one with a good gun.
A couple of bites around the scrot kind of thing, like, and you're kicking at it, and you reach out to kind of defend yourself, and it bites at your arm, and you let this thing go. The one thing that you notice is the milky white color of its eye as it stares at you. You're not really sure what that's about. What do you two of you guys do as this thing charges out, pins your friend against the wall?
My first impulse was to freeze and then charge it.
I thought you were going to say spray it with a MAC-10. I'm like,
No,
oh god, here we go.
No. One, in our recent interaction, I didn't cock it, so that's not even ready. I didn't do the whole thing. So, I would. Can I like shoulder check it because he's right in front of me?
Absolutely, yes, you may. So you're gonna go ahead and engage in combat.
Oh no, the thing I'm really bad at. Do I get a bravado?
No. Well, no. Actually, it's a little too late. Remember, you've got
what
one
if I
more
yell,
act
"This
first.
is what fucking heroes do," and then I roll this? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm literally tanking it, Steve.
Just keep in mind, Steve, you've got one more act first. So if you know.
Oh no, overtime.
This session, but
I don't want to waste it on Mike.
So I get to choose
You call
between
me a
these. So you
liability,
come
right?
in. So tell me how this plays out. So you succeed, and you're gonna inflict damage. You're gonna shoulder check this thing into. Really, technically, from the angle you're coming at, you're gonna shoulder check it into Frank and the file cabinet. What does that look like? What do we see?
This is something where I'm basically barreling over this little desk chair and everything that he got, crammed through for this filing cabinet. I place my left shoulder as hard as I can under the rib cage of the said leaping dog. I wouldn't say that my head's within range of it, but it's a fucking dog and it's a demon thing, so who knows? But I know that I'm going at an angle that is parallel to Frank, not necessarily directly into him. So I'm more like he got speared this way, and I'm trying to go this way across him. So holy shit, stop that.
Right.
But
So at an angle, you kind of rush in. You can't get really this way because that's not gonna just
yeah.
But you kind of pin it in, just smash into the aluminum file cabinets, and you kind of feel some bruising as you just smash, and the handles hit you in kind of the temple and the shoulder, the collarbone. But you feel this satisfying kind of crunch as you realize that just like a bag of air, you've popped this thing's ribs and lungs. It just as you put your whole weight into it, it falls to the ground.
Yeah, well, it's like it's a necrotic tissue, right? So it can snap easy. You can get smushed into itself. It's not that resilient. So yeah, I get a little bit of a satisfying thunk out of it. I feel like I've accomplished something because I'm assuming I got a lot with Frank.
So the file cabinet rocks backwards. It kind of twists awkwardly. Frank slumps over, obviously, kind of he's being bitten. He's just trying to get away from it, and then the thing bounds off down the hallway. And it stops about halfway and looks back at you with those milky eyes. And off it goes.
Oh, good.
Well, clearly it was just trying to play.
Constantine, go get the fucking dog. You're so funny. Go get the dog, you asshole.
That's funny. That's fucking funny. So here in the hallway,
lucky I didn't have my MAC-10 ready.
No, that's right. So here in the hallway, we will pause because we have this. So we've agreed that we're going to do the post-session kind of talk real quick, right? So it's 11:11. Make a wish. We're at 500 followers. We hit 50 on Twitch, which is good. We're not too far away from being affiliates, fellas, which is pretty cool.
That's fantastic.
We just have to get folks up in here. So folks that are up in here, bring more folks.
Up in here.
Up in here.
Not over the
I mean,
over the
what if everybody just posts that clip of the jumping up and down dance? You know, bring us a breeze, bring us a breeze. We can make a dance song.
We have to include Mike's interpretation, which was just from here up.
Yeah. So here we are in Pearson Chemicals in this fucking 80s office. So let's kind of rewind, and I'm gonna. Who wants to go first for their sort of post-session wrap-up commentary? Who wants to go first? Mike, Randall.
Yeah, I mean,
Mike. Whoever.
So the last, call it 3 hours for Frank has been completely eye-opening. And, you know, Randall made the comment about how I've been telling you all along this shit is real, you know, and Frank always knew there was something going on, right? The murder of his family has left him with an impression that there's more to this thing than just evil people. There's evil, there's true evil, but never to this extent. And so the van rattled him. The man in the lobby downright terrified him. And so I think this was this was an interesting one for Frank, because there's a moment in this that he has to ask himself whether or not this is all worth it, right? Like, he thought he knew what he was getting into, and obviously he had no fucking clue. And so now he's in a position where he's got to reevaluate, right, that sort of detective mind and try to understand the circumstance to the best of his ability and then make an informed decision. And I think that the reflections, both figuratively and literally, right, that of himself in the windows of the glass, but also like his actions and how they seem to play out to like Randall, even though he doesn't have the badge, even though he's not saving lives, even though he's not on the front lines, he's still the hero and he's still making a difference. And so I think that was it was important for him to make that decision that, like, hell or high water, I'm going to die here, or I'm going to solve this thing. And so I think it's a little bit fun because going into this episode, I didn't really know what it was that we were going to do. And Frank,
me neither.
You know, so
what I love, I have to share. I'm going to share for the broader group, because I've had people ask me, like you guys asked me last time, actually, kind of what it is that we want to do to prepare. So I have 3 bullet points here. Scene. I had that narrative, and I had scenes. I had impressions, because that's sexy. You hear that music? It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love bulleted lists now.
Yeah, I looked up. No. I looked up world's most emotional music, and I'm like, let's do this for the wrap up. No, but nice. I had impressions was a bullet point. I had the parking lot grading was a bullet point to indicate that there's danger underneath, and then a bullet point that just says an open door. And I love that I can always count on you fuckers to like just feed it to me, and I'm like, ooh, I can just fucking have a weird dude stand. It's really good. So I love that about how you approach Frank, though, is you're wearing Frank. And that's the point of what we're doing here. And that, you know, for those who watch these episodes and think that we're not adhering to the rules of this game, what I will say is this: because Peternello and folks, click like on our shit once in a while, because it's scary, and that's a point of cult. So Randall, what the fuck, man? You are got to be coming down and hurting and feeling like you got diarrhea or something. Like what?
Yeah,
you know.
I know that prior to us stopping the episode, my next step was to want to go back to that bathroom, because I figure that my superpowers are waning. My pocket powder is probably somewhat dry.
Not even
had a
remotely.
really bad couple hours of not accomplishing anything but pissing off Frank.
Think about this for a second. Can you imagine like taking talcum powder and wetting it, right? And then 10 minutes later, because it's not been more than an hour at this point. Can you imagine how deflated he would feel if you reached into his pocket and just felt that snotty, like, whatever?
Oh, yes.
You just put the paste up on the inside of the nose.
Yeah, you just rub it here until it dries. I don't know. I've seen shows. So yeah, so this whole thing has been really fucked up.
Let me ask for Randall, how is this developing the girl?
How is what?
What do you think the girl's motivations are?
This is what's tricky for me now. Because I'm feeling like initially when the character was constructed, I was supposed to see this as being a representation of her. Now I'm feeling like it's not at all. I feel like it's an illusion. Not, an illusion as far as like, oh my god, it's not real because it's a fucking hallucination on a mirror. So yeah, it's more feeling like this is supposed to represent I feel like it's a very big betrayal. I'm about to figure out about.
Like maybe there's a lie involved there somewhere.
Yes, very much so. Seeing as she only seems to react negatively when the priest is around or when I'm not doing my drugs. And I don't like that. So Randall, even in his adult state, despite being an obvious addict and having all the personality issues, a lot of authority issues, and all the other things that definitely are in no way based off of my life whatsoever. It seemed like I pay attention. That's what I do. I have nothing else to do all day, so I pay attention. I may be high as fuck in doing it and just being entertained and living my life there, but I'm not an idiot. I'm an addict. There's a difference. That's what Frank can't wrap his head around. So,
You guys are bringing back old arguments. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. This is going to be like the real world. Like we look directly at the camera and we're like, he's bald and I don't get it. One of those things.
Let's get my gym face. Lit a trash can on fire.
Yeah. Just
kick a window open.
Parkour. Yeah.
So Constantine, you last episode, you made what is very likely, especially given your values, a mortal mistake. But not a mistake. You've martyred yourself for these two men, an addict and someone who, for all you know, he could be a murderer, right? Like you have no reason to believe he's a person of quality. How is this? How is he like justifying all of this? Because he's sort of on the underbelly of society, but he's still a priest and he's still a man of God. Like how is that sitting with him?
Well, it feels like it's going pretty well for him now. He feels that he's been empowered by his God. He's pretty much untouchable so far. Maybe by sheer luck, but he doesn't believe that. He's saved the group, he feels. He's saved, these other two mortal souls. And
he's making out with people?
Yeah. He's ruling over demons. Even God made pacts with the devil. And that's how he sees himself is that he's progressing as if like almost saint-like. So it's going a little to his head.
I still have a Mac 10.
I remember now what our agreement was. I think the agreement was that we would, for whoever said the thing that was compelling enough to name the episode. I think that's what we agreed on, is that they get a free, best possible result the next session. So this session will be titled "Even God Made Pacts with the Devil." I like that. That's good. So
That's
you get it.
deep.
Yeah, it is. You get a free success roll. Sorry, Mac 10 sprayer guy. Next time.
It's fine. I can do it over and over and over again.
Yeah. So actually, you technically, I apologize. Well, so you let our player or our viewers hold us accountable for this, but you should have had a free success this time because you named the pocket powder. Or no, that was Frank that named the pocket powder, wasn't it?
No, I think it was Steve.
Okay.
Yeah,
A fistful of pocket powder was Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pure poetry is what it was.
It was.
It was inspired by the
Pure
muse herself.
coke-fueled poetry.
Inspired by the Colombian muse herself.
For the viewers, what do you guys think is on the other side What do you think's on the other side of that hallway?
A dog.
No, well, there's the dog. Yeah, he's probably over there. That's where his water bowl is.
He's just so thirsty.
He's just a really skinny, pissed off, blind dog
Oh God, are they back?
with a
The
bad
hell was
leg.
that?
That would have been funny.
Did you guys see the dog guy with the tongue? Oh God.
All I know is that Frank needs a long rest. My
Oh.
arms bit up, my back's all
Because he gets his hit points
It's
back.
coming.
The long rest is coming. It's a very long one.
Yeah.
Nice.
I am now regretting everything. Oh, by the way, for those who don't know anything about this world at all, or you missed the character construction thing, all right, all of you guys are probably a lot more versed in this than me, but I'm going through a lot of new fucking emotions because I've never played a game like this.
That's
I was
bad.
initially
No,
stoked.
but thank you, dude. That's badass to say that because that's.
Well, I just want you to
Yeah.
understand this because to you guys are involved in a story that is evolving as you go, and this is probably old hat because you guys have done story construction exercises.
Not
and
like
shit
this.
that.
This campaign
Okay.
is so much more fucked up than anything we've ever played. This is a first
Well-
for me, you guys. This is a journey for me.
Well, like subject matter aside, this is hurting my head now because I'm trying to do what Mike's doing very well, and honestly Constantine as well, because Constantine is playing, or CJ is playing this character that is supposed to be this somewhat disconnected, somewhat unreliable character. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be like you are fucking nuts, but you have a legit power, so you have a use. Frank is a tank, so I see his role, and he's complicated, and has some fucked up story. And this is what got me screwed up earlier because I just realized that all three of us have to have a dark secret, and we all rolled those whenever we
Yep.
first started. I fucking forgot that. I
I
didn't forget
didn't.
mine. I was like, I'm special. I'm not special, and now I'm really concerned because
So
just
I will
now started
remind you,
paying
yeah.
attention.
So those of you who don't remember, CJ, you didn't have yours written down on your character sheet when I went to make my notes. Pact with Dark Forces is Randall's.
Yeah.
Not that you guys obviously metagame. You can't metagame that, right? Like, but that's so sweet. I'm so excited about that. That was a good choice.
This is all a big trap, and Randall's just fucking luring us here to be destroyed. He's gonna get his.
Isn't it weird that I
eternal
can't
high.
shoot anything? That's weird.
Not
Yeah.
with a Mag 10. You're like
you
the
know
He'll
bad
take
guy.
his gun and
Yeah.
hit nothing.
You're the
And there's a
bad guy in
demon roll
Miami
there,
Vice.
too.
with
It's really
Mag 10.
weird.
So
Okay.
there was a fantastic comment from Blackhand Oracle in the chat who said, on the other side of the hallway is probably a weird version of a chemist.
I
Probably.
could see that.
Yeah.
He's,
He's
just
making-
all sort of like fucking mad scientists kidnapping these guys to do like weird experiments and shit on them.
He's making hand sanitizer, guys.
And I need some of that. Do you know where that is?
Nope. No, he's inventing it because it wasn't around in the 80s. He didn't fucking. What you did is you had Dial soap or Coast soap, depending on how you want your hands to smell.
Yeah, that's why I had so many 80s babies.
So my last question. We got 5 minutes till the end of the stream. Are you guys having fun? Is this great? Do you enjoy it? Should we
It's
continue to do
simultaneously
this?
fun and horrifying. And not just because of the effort that you put into the voices and character shit. It's like I legit feel like I'm gonna fuck this story up, and I'm trying not to.
I don't think you can because look. This is the fun part. So in most of our campaigns,
Yeah.
actually, so
Only
the
because I'm new to this, so I'm trying to.
I love this. I'm going to read this to you in case you're not in the chat, Steve. So from a viewer perspective, if you hadn't said you have never played a game like this, Steve, we wouldn't know. You're all amazing role players. So this is the thing.
Thank you.
Fuck. Thanks for tuning in once.
The idea of this being an organic an organic story, right? That's why you guys are here. Is you can't fuck up the story because you're writing it, and the rule system, particularly if we used it, well. But no, the system encourages you guys to help drive the story. What could we do better?
So I will say, I have a D&D player. Been playing for years, and I enjoy the role
like
playing
it.
in that. But I've never role played quite like I've role played with Frank, and I have a lot of fun doing the role playing. I think the piece that I'm struggling with the most, I love that we're driving the narrative. I do. I feel like there's so much cloak and mystery behind our own characters and behind each other and our relationships with what's going on around us that sometimes it's hard to know what the next move is. And so we get stuck with these things of like, what 3 questions do you want to ask?
Yeah,
so-
yeah. So I observe that about the system, right? There's explicitly speaking, you know, in some of it you're trying to think maybe too deeply, because I'm reading through the rules going, well, fuck, what 3 questions would I ask? But it's sort of like, all right, I'm here. Is there an alarm? Yes, there is. All right. Is there a sign of recent use of the door? You know, just quick things like that is hard. And from a D&D background, I might just ask you to, or Warhammer, just check perception. And I would feed you bits and pieces based on the level of success. But what I do like...
So this is...
Huh?
Sorry. I'm listening. This is new concept to me, because I was also afraid for like Mike, you know, whenever he's presented with these questions, they give me great anxiety, because I'm like, if I do these questions wrong, I'm not going to know what the hell's coming. I'm just be like, is it a gold knob? And then I open the door and I get like a demon tongue in my mouth or something.
Part of that, though, and just understand that in the way I kind of interpret the system, and again, you know, we have to play a lot more often to make it second nature. I'm more, like Mike said, I'm more D&D, Warhammer,
Don't
sort
tease
of
me.
skills for everything rather than broad concepts. So like engage in combat versus a sword skill and a pistol skill. But I think it's like, let it go. Like whatever makes sense for you to be thinking of or looking to. What I have to sort out is where I want prompts to occur. Theoretically, the rule suggests I should just feed them to you. Be like, hey, this is the thing that you see. But in some cases, it's like, wow, am I leading you through a narrative novel thing, or am I, you know, or are there rules?
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, I know that Frank is looking for answers at Pearson Chemicals. I don't even know that Frank knows what it is that he's looking for, right? Like the searching the van for clues for maybe this is the van that A-Bomb was in. What is that really going to tell him, right? What I'm hoping is to hit these triggers that's going to prompt you to sort of drive the narrative forward, and then that can help narrow it down. What we're like right now, I don't know what it is we're looking for. We've got a gut feeling, and we know we got to be here. And so if I knew that I was looking for master plans for a warhead or something, then I know to check the filing cabinets. You know what I mean?
That's totally what it is.
There
should be a twist where it's the Soviets.
But we don't know if we're looking for like an old cursed relic that needs to be thrown into a volcano, or is there like some demi priest that is summoning these spirits, or is there like an old book that needs to be pierced with a vampire fang? Like, what is it? You know? And
is there some sort of a small idol?
There is an idol.
You're precious. Are we going to talk about that? Shit, we didn't discuss that in the wrap up. Where do you keep that thing? In your prison pocket? Is it in your prison pocket there, Frank?
No, I don't have it.
Oh, that's right. No, that is right. It's at at
your house. I've got a scribe of it in my notebook that I keep in my front pocket inside of my old tattered coat. And you know, I study the drawing frequently. I've drawn it hundreds of times, scribbled it, you know, with rocks on the sidewalk with like makeshift chalk and with pencil lead and all the way down to the nubs, maybe with the butts and the char of old cigarettes. Just the shape. But what's really triggered and what's really got me so enticed is that A-Bomb had it carved into his chest as he was laying dying in Bianchi's apartment. And I think that's that. So to Frank, there's this horrific thing that happened to him, right? His family was absolutely slaughtered. There's this idol that may or may not be related. There's definitely connections in Frank's head. Whether they're legitimate or not, we don't know. And then we have A-Bomb, who's got this symbol on his chest and makes comments to the effect of it wasn't their fault. They're not the ones that you should be sad about. I saw them, Frank. I've seen what they've taken from you. And even though he didn't say their names specifically,
You knew.
I know what it is.
Right.
And so now, knowing the Pearson chemicals with A-bomb, this is why Frank is so drawn. I just need answers. And again, I don't know that Frank even knows what it is he's looking for. He's just here. Looking.
Yeah. So I think your comment on what we could do better. I think that there's probably there's definitely some emphasis here on getting a deeper understanding of the rule set across the board, right? So that we can kind of get to help to drive that forward. But what I love about how we're approaching this campaign is that it's not about rolls and die rolls. Quite honestly, we could very well not have any of that and work through it.
20 minutes in, we were like, all right, roll 20.
Well, what I like though, so literally, other than the idea of there being an A and a B, right, of an outcome, is just this sort of common sense approach to how things have flowed. Of like, oh, if you did this, then well, really, this is what would happen, right? And even in the 80s when things were fucked up. So, but yeah, I think that's really important. Ooh, shit. Who is this man? Who is this Black Hand Oracle? And he says
Stop
Frank.
it.
So Frank. No, really. Frank. Fuck. Mindbender. You ready? Could your family still live on? Oh my God. Hi, Byron. I should have known that, right? But he's one of your Western buddies there, Frank.
Nice. Let's do it.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Yeah, they could absolutely be. And so the comments that A-bomb made, right? Like, I've seen them. What does that mean?
But what
What does that mean?
horrible form might they take? Because remember, that other side's not like, oh, Frank, come play with us. We love you. You know, it's a bad place.
That is true.
That's awesome. Constantine, your biggest fear when we talked about when we talked about it was more you, right? Or is that idea of possession, and being sort of taken over. And actually, Frank was going crazy, which I got you on that one, man. Just wait.
Oh, he's gonna snap for sure. It's coming.
Yeah, I'm spending no more bullets.
Constantine, how do you feel that this relates to the possession of your father? And those moments that some of our viewers will have lived through with you if they watch that.
The only relation would have come from last game, last session, where the demon was in my face and I had that fear arise. Mainly because obviously that's how my father passed, and I don't want to succumb to that either. But that's also where I feel I was reborn. I, in a sense, defeated the demon, made a pact with it, and I'm on this new path.
And here's the thing I'm going to end this stream here, because this is the thing that struck me from last session. I'm going to get my mouse hovering over the end stream button, and there won't be any quirky finger in the camera. I'll do that there for gratuitous purposes. Constantine, that's exactly what your dad said. I made the agreement for them. Good night, everyone.
What?